Hi, welcome to this long ass video. I'm gonna be reading some crazy mother in law stories, and as you can see, I'm playing on phone, like the Pocket Edition, because I have a potato laptop that cannot run Minecraft. And the most important part is I don't know how to play Minecraft. Every time I played Minecraft, I just built house and shit. Like I never beat an Ender Dragon or anything. Then why the hell am I making a Minecraft video? Because I'm lonely and broke and just lonely and broke. That's reasonable enough. So you guys better not leave. You guys better subscribe and maybe like and maybe comment too. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I started this new world and I'm looking for a village right now because I like to do my base closer to a village. I don't know why. And again, I don't know how to play Minecraft, so maybe do not pay much attention to it. Just listen to the story, okay? I'm gonna read the first one now. My husband and I have been together for nearly 10 years, and he has helped raise my daughter since she was 5. We built a family together and now have twin girls and a son. So, 3 kids together and my daughter from a previous relationship. My daughter is 13. She has always seen her biological dad every other weekend. And he has never tried to take me to court or get the custody, so I have full legal custody of her. 3 years ago, when my daughter was 10, a situation happened where I didn't allow him to see my daughter for a month because her biological father was getting drunk and talking badly about me to her, telling her that I abandoned her when I left the state to go to be a stripper. That was not true at all. And I told him that in order to see her, he needed to apologize and tell his daughter that he lied. Fast forward to now, her father and I have much better relationship. Him and I were out having lunch without our daughter one day, and he told me during that time we were in no contact for a month. My mother-in-law was secretly contacting him and his wife. She was trying to convince them to take me to court. At first, her dad and his wife told me she was only trying to get them to take me to court for 50-50 because they really didn't want to get involved in the mess. But once I stated me and my husband were getting a divorce, they said, okay, this is what really happened. She was really trying to get them to take full custody and offered to pay for it. She did this knowing the full situation and knowing her son has helped raise my daughter since she was 5. Regardless, if it was 50-50 or full custody, the fact that she would dare try to take my daughter away from me when I have had full custody for the last 10 years is beyond foul. There is no coming back from that. My husband forgives her and still chooses to have a relationship with her, and I just don't think it's something I can ever get past. I blocked all contact from her having a relationship with my oldest daughter. However, my husband still wants her to have a relationship and takes them over there frequently. Her apology to me was a text that basically said, I don't know why you focus on the negative. I do so much for you guys, and I'm choosing to text you because I'm choosing my peace. His recommendation is that me and her have no contact, but I honestly feel like that means she's winning because she still gets to see her son and her biological grandkids with no consequences. To be honest, I feel like she has a husband problem. Bro, why are you siding with your mother when your mother is clearly in the wrong here? You are supposed to stand up for your wife. I don't understand this men. And in the story, she mentioned that she is getting a divorce, and if she is actually getting a divorce, that is good for her. And about the mother-in-law, what do you mean you just want good for them? Like, girl, you literally offered them money for all the cost, like lawyers and everything, so you can separate the daughter from her mother. You wanted her out of the picture. So, yeah, she obviously had a bad intention. And something about this tells me that this is not the first time the mother in law tried to do something bad and the husband supported it, and everything is leading to the divorce. So, yeah, I think the daughter-in-law is doing the right thing. Anyway, now let's move on to the next story. My now ex husband and I were in the middle of a massive Navy move, relocating all the way from Maine to southern Maryland. Along the way, we made a stop in New Jersey to visit some of his family. We hadn't originally planned on seeing his mother at all because she had done some truly vile things to us just months prior. But she found out we were in town and practically begged and pleaded to see us. Against our better judgment, we agreed. During the visit, she started grilling us with questions about the new house we were buying. We explained our upcoming schedule. My mother, who was terminally ill with breast cancer, was coming to stay with us for 2 weeks. And right after that, some of our Navy friends were going to crash with us until their own housing in the same area was ready. That's when my mother in law asked if she could come down to visit too. Being the people pleaser I always was, I tried to accommodate her. I said, yes, of course, but just not while my mom is there. And not the weekend our Navy friends are staying with us. Apparently, setting that completely reasonable boundary was the ultimate insult to her. Because I didn't give her an overwhelming, unconditional yes, she completely lost her mind. Right after that conversation, while I was standing at the back of my car, she actually put her car in the drive and came charging straight at me. At the very last second, she swerved away, rolled down her window, and proceeded to scream at the top of her lungs about me not letting her come to our new house. It was terrifying and completely crazy. The tragedy happened just 2 weeks later when my mother passed away from her illness. Knowing how vile my mother in law was, I had to ask my father in law not to bring her to the funeral. A week after my mom died, while I was still deeply grieving, my mother in law called me instead of offering condolences. She told me that she hated me, that she had always hated me, and called me a bitch and said I deserved the pain. Wow, this is disgusting. I don't even know what to say about it. How horrible you are. This type of people, they don't have empathy for anyone. And I think they're very unhappy and insecure with their own life, so they try to project it on other people. You know, women who can't stand their daughter in laws, they just want to marry their own son. Like I said what I said. That's the only reason they act the way they act. This is just so sad. I'm glad that she got out of the family. Like she doesn't have to deal with her anymore. Okay, let's read the next story now. My son has Prader-Willi syndrome. My mother-in-law told me it must be my fault because there was never been anything like that in their family. I ignored her. I only do confrontation when it is unavoidable. However, a friend then told me that she was spreading rumors about me in our small town. She was telling everyone that I was an alcoholic. I don't actually drink except on very special occasions. She told them that I hadn't wanted the child and had tried to abort him by getting drunk every night, then throwing myself down the stairs, which is impossible because we live in a ground floor flat. My husband was scared of her, so it was up to me to confront her, and this was something I felt was worth the unpleasantness. She didn't deny it. She said it was my fault that my son was wrong and that I might as well have tried to abort him. She continued telling lies. Then my health visitor came and told me she had made allegations that I was abusing my daughter, who was 2 years older than my son. I went to my GP to find out what she had said. He told me if he had believed her, he would have reported me and put the child first. He said he had warned her instead, because he knew it wasn't true. However, she didn't give up, and I got a visit from social services. It took them 30 seconds to realize it was a malicious allegation, and 6 months to leave us alone and stop visiting. Apparently, if there has been an allegation, they have to visit and keep an eye on a family for a while. I understand it, although it's annoying and frustrating when it is you. When my daughter was 6, I went to collect her from school and discovered my mother in law had picked her up several hours earlier. It took hours to find her, and when I did, she called me an unfit mother and hit me when I put my daughter into my car. That time, my husband did stand up to her and tell her what he thought of her. It was a long time before they reconciled. Eventually, my marriage ended and I was able to cut all ties with her. Didn't stop her from telling people that I was to blame for my son's condition and coming up with outrageous stories. About a year after my divorce, a paper came out that said the strain of PW my son has is caused by a faulty chromosome passed on by the father. Call me petty, but I photocopied the paper, highlighted the relevant bit, and posted it to her. Made me feel a little better at the time. Ooh, I like it. Imagine the mother in law's face when she was reading it. You know, sometimes in life we need to be petty because some people are really nice and they let other people walk all over them. And all the three stories I read, they all got divorced. And I believe one of the main reasons was the mother in law and lack of their husband's support. Okay, now next story. My husband is from Romania and his mother came to live with us for a year while waiting for her green card. The plan was she would then spend 6 months a year with us in America and 6 months a year in Romania. I knew she was the matriarch of the family, and my husband was her first boy. But this woman hated me on sight. She said the most awful things to me, like I was too young, too pretty to be with her son for anything other than his money. I told her, if you can say that, then you have no idea what a wonderful man your own son is. She would do things like go through my purse when I wasn't looking and throw out my $40 Chanel lipstick. One of the most hurtful things she would do was turn around the pictures I had in the house of my mom, who died at the age of 34 when I was 12. She pitted my husband against me. She made it out like I was setting her up and lying about it. Over the course of 10 months she was with us. By then, downstairs became her domain. I would retreat immediately upstairs to our bedroom and watch TV or read until my husband came home. She made him dinner every night, which I wasn't allowed to eat with them. He would sit with her and have dinner and eventually come upstairs to greet me. When she went to bed, we were free to go downstairs and watch TV, etc. The final straw came when I came home from a long, stressful day at work. I sat down at the kitchen table to go through the mail. She was most unhappy that I had the nerve to sit at her kitchen table. She picked up my sunglasses from where they were on the table and threw them against the wall. I ignored her and continued going through the mail, which made her even crazier. She stood over me and continued yelling. My dog, a little Yorkie, who weighs all of 8 pounds, was very upset about this. We went through a lot together during my previous marriage, and she's still very sensitive to fighting or yelling of any kind. She stood next to my feet and started barking. As I reached down to calm her, my mother in law kicked her right in the face. My dog yelped, and I could hear her teeth crack together. I stood up so fast I knocked over the chair. I grabbed my dog and my purse and left in my car. I called my husband at work, slightly hysterical, I will admit. I told him, this is it. I'm going to a hotel. Either she goes or I go. She flew home to Romania 3 days later. I can handle a bully, but I cannot handle abuse of my dog, and my husband couldn't either. When it came time for her to have to return to the US due to her green card, I absolutely refused. Her green card was invalidated because she stayed outside the US for too long. I don't know if we will try to sponsor her again in the future, but it hasn't come up in discussion lately. Based on the story, I think she's the reason they both have green cards. I mean, why would she sponsor or wanna have her mother-in-law there after the way she treated her? And I thought this one would also end up in divorce, but they're still together. I think it's because the husband is supporting the wife. This right here, If any man or boy watching this video, take notes, okay? Always stand up for your wife. And by the way, I found the village I've been looking for. It's right over there behind the mountain. That's why I want to make my base here. So the village is closer and I still have my privacy from them and they have their privacy from me. And now I just built a dirt house because there's no tree. I mean, there are, but that's not the wood I want. Or maybe I'll just build another cute and cozy dirt house. I have seen some cute stuff on Twitter. Anyway, now let's move on to our next story. I had an arranged marriage. Prior to the wedding, my husband and I went on a handful of dates. I knew my future father in law fairly well. He was dad to a schoolmate of mine. At this point, my future in laws couldn't have been nicer. We made plans for the wedding and the party afterward. They generously offered to pay for everything. My mother in law offered their house for the reception. Our original idea was to go to Las Vegas and be married by Elvis. We wanted to begin our adventure together in a memorable way. Up until this point, I believed my future in laws to be good people. They seemed genuine, and I remember feeling lucky that these people would be in my life. Looking back, I guess I would be at this point that my mother in law became insulted. I honestly have no idea what happened. I asked her, but was met with disgust. Was I being too extravagant? Was I not inclusive enough for my new family? I'm not sure, but something changed. The wedding was in City Hall in one of the poorer neighborhoods. I preserved thinking we'd look back on this day and laugh. I chose a white dress, assembled some flowers, and had my hair done. My husband and I barely knew each other when we exchanged the vows. My mother in law was not in attendance. Needless to say, their generous offer for wedding reception was never realized. My husband was promised a generous salary working with the family. Additionally, my in laws promised financial help as we started a new life together. That never happened either. Talks became disagreements, disagreements became arguments, and the heat kept rising. My mother in law accused me of extortion. For what I'll never know, she began gossiping to coworkers and speaking badly of me at my place of work. My father in law made it clear that he lamented ever introducing his stepson to me. As time passed, my in laws became more determined to end our marriage. My mother in law came to our home. She screamed at the top of her lungs that they had investigated and had uncovered something about me. She screamed she was going to get me. I asked my husband to remove his mother. She screamed at me from the street that she knew people who would take care of me. She said no one would find my body. My husband was torn. She would always be his mother, but this marriage was something he wanted. He managed to convince his mother to leave that night. But my in laws were far from done. I received calls from my brother in law, whom I barely knew. He called me names and said I had ruined my husband's life. He said if I really loved him, I should divorce him. My husband and I had been married barely a year at this point. Wait, that's it? She only posted this much. I wish I knew what happened next. I don't think she should end her marriage because of them, because her husband is nice, right? And the fact that she threatened her. She said no one would find her body. Like, it's serious, I'm not even joking. She should take her to the court. Like this is life risk. You never know what these people are capable of. Okay, this might be the last story. Well, first it was at our rehearsal for our wedding. When we finished rehearsing and the priest asked if anyone had any questions, my soon to be mother in law asked who walked out first. When the priest said me and my husband would, she said, oh, as if she had expected to walk out first. The funny part was when my sister in law, who is also my best friend, leaned in and said that my mother in law still hadn't figured out it wasn't her wedding. Cut to when we were taking pictures after the ceremony, my mother in law had asked our photographer if her brother and sister in law could get a picture with us.
And our photographer politely said she couldn't accommodate because that's not only what we wanted, but it would also cut into how much time it would take from other pictures we wanted. In the middle of reception, she asked if we could have our DJ announce that her brother and sister in law were from Poland because she wanted them to feel special and wanted the attention. She finally figured out that it wasn't her wedding and she had absolutely no control over it. When I said that we have our DJ on his schedule and didn't want to mess up his schedule, and my husband agreed with me. Several weeks after the wedding, we gave our proofs back. I hadn't had a chance to look at them, but my husband, mother, and sister in law did. They all noticed that my mother in law was frowning in the pictures, and only my sister in law said something. Her exact words were that it was rather a shitty thing for my mother in law to do, especially since she was smiling in my sister in law's wedding pictures. I was furious because the photographer alone was at least $2,000 and we would pay another $2,000 for our wedding album. My husband wasn't happy, and after I told him he better have a conversation with his mother, only for him to hear an array of excuses. The best one saying she was thinking we were gonna get a divorce. Who the heck thinks that on their child's wedding day? The only way to fix that one was not to include her in my wedding album. I wasn't about to pay $2,000, maybe even more, just to see her frowning face in it. But what really got to me was when she told my husband that she was offended that I wasn't changing my last name and I needed to start changing it. My husband told her that if I don't want to change my last name, he isn't going to make me. She says, "So you are just going to take her side?" And that's when my husband says, "Well, she's my wife, why wouldn't I take her side?" After hearing that, my mother-in-law has learned after hearing that my mother-in-law has learned that a lot of times her opinions are unwelcome. Well, this one is bad, but not as bad as the other stories I was reading. I like it when the husband is supportive. Anyway, this was it. I don't know if anyone is gonna watch it, or if you're watching, then please give this video a like and maybe comment something. Thank you so much for watching. If this video does well, maybe if it gets 20 views, I'll make more videos like this in future. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.